Hello, my loves. This is Casandra MacAlan. Thank you for joining me today for some thought pain therapy here at Free the Wisdom to Heal the Body. So, today I am going to be talking about energetic courting. And this is something that someone messaged me about and said they wanted to learn more. So, hopefully, this will also be intriguing to you. And if you have something that you want me to talk about, maybe it's for a friend or a family member, or maybe it's something personal to you, I would, of course, not use your name, but you want to know more about some specific issue, then just send me a private message and I'd be happy to talk about it for you. Okay. So today we're going to talk about energetic courting. And what that means is basically that anytime we have an emotional connection to something, we feel something, the more strongly we feel it, the more greater the connection. And if there is an emotional connection, well, there's also an energetic connection because we are energetic beings. And we can't care about someone or something without wanting to connect to them or it. And that connection, in metaphysical speak, is referred to as a cord. So the people that we are most likely to cord to are people that are close to us, and also people that we want to learn from. So we might cord unintentionally our bosses, our teachers, our guides, our gurus, in addition to our lovers and our children and our family and our friends. And the more we want something from someone, sometimes that might be the need to be right, or sometimes it might be the need to be loved, or the need to be understood, or the need to understand, the stronger that cording can get, the bigger that cord can be. And we can also form attachments to situations, perhaps in our past, that meant a lot to us, but for some reason we can't seem to move past. Perhaps they changed our life in a way that we weren't accepting or wanting. And sometimes that keeps us from moving on. Sometimes being courted to a situation in our past is like an anchor, right? Like an anchor that we carry with us, and we try to move forward, but we really can't move forward with ease and grace because we're still pulling with us this memory, this frustration, this thing from the past. So that would be a reason why we would not want to cord to situations. Now, when we cord to individuals, well, there's an energy exchange, but there also can be an energy drain. Sometimes, in fact, we can cord to someone intentionally, say someone that we love that isn't feeling well, and we do this because we want them to feel better, right? Well, unfortunately, that energy in this situation goes both ways. So we might be sending our love and our healing and our energy, but we also might be pulling from them their illness, their suffering, or their pain. In fact, when I started this career over 2 decades ago, I started in medical body work. And I was so committed to making my clients feel better that what I would do would be basically see myself as some sort of energetic pool skimmer. I would intentionally skim off anything I saw in someone's energy field or felt in someone's energy field that I thought was discordant or unhealthy, in order to make them feel better, in order to have them walk out going, oh my gosh, you're amazing. I feel so great. Well, perhaps unsurprising, I started to become really ill. And I felt bad after every client, and I couldn't figure out why. And then I started looking around at other healers and found that a lot of them really struggled with severe illnesses, and it kept them from being able to continue their work. They would have autoimmune diseases like I struggled with, other chronic issues, chronic pain, fibromyalgia. Sometimes it would be things that no doctor could understand. Well, a lot of that had to do with the energy that they were taking on and unknowingly not releasing. The other form of energy exchange that can happen is when someone cords us. So, for instance, when I work with my students and my Feminine Freedom from Pain program participants and my clients, I expect that they will cord me and I will cord them. So when we are transferring information, we can get it as deeply as we possibly could, because not only are we listening, but we're also feeling. However, what we need to learn to do is, when we're done with these exchanges, is to uncord. So an example might be, if you can visualize what this would look like. So for you boomers out there, and you Generation X people like myself, you might remember seeing visuals of what the phone system looked like when it was first created. And for those Gen Z and millennials, imagine this panel with all these holes in it. And when you made a phone call, you would reach an operator, and that operator's job was to take your cord and your connection and the other end of it to plug it in to the person you were calling. So if you can see like that, we are literally making those connections. But instead of being on a phone, we're doing it with our energy system. Now, sometimes you can see these or imagine these cords, and they might be very, very thin, like fishing line. But I have also seen and felt cords that were massive, like dinner plates. So they can be many different sizes, and generally the size equates with how long you've been courting to someone, maybe a family member, or how much energy is being drawn or given through this cord. And like I said, sometimes we cord intentionally, but sometimes unintentionally we are corded, and that can cause, especially over time, a significant drain to our personal energy systems. So when someone comes to me and they say, I'm exhausted all the time, I seem to maybe over-identify with people or situations or worries, I consider checking their system for energetic cords. Because if you worry about something, well, you know that it doesn't end with a thought, right? It's a feeling. And sometimes that feeling can be long lasting. And the greater the worry, the bigger the cord, the more energy that's being drained from you. And again, this can be for a person, a situation, sometimes even a place. So when you think about these cords, the first thing I want you to be aware of is that it is not necessary for us to cord with other people on a long-term basis. And like I mentioned, you can cord with someone for a particular situation. I mean, certainly when we make love, we cord, right? And when we are nurturing someone, we're corded. But our connection, our energetic connection, really needs to be primarily with Source, with that universal, unlimited energy that exists. Because I don't know about you, but my energy is limited, right? So if someone's courting me, or many someones are courting me, eventually I can't help but feel drained. Neither could you. So even if you want to let someone nurse from you with your energy, it isn't something that was ever meant to go on for life. And even if you want to think about perhaps your children, right? Ultimately, we have to teach our children how to connect with Source, how to replenish their energy from nature, from the universe at large, from that unlimited store of energy for them, so they don't grow up to be something that we might think in this community or speak of as something called a psychic vampire. And that is a person who knowingly or unknowingly really needs other people's energy in order to feel healthy or complete or connected or grounded or satisfied. One of the ways that I explain this to someone is the fact that you can feel exhausted after a phone conversation with someone where there was no action taken other than talking. and you hang up that phone and you think, oh my gosh, I need a nap. Well, that likely means that you recorded with this person. And perhaps unbeknownst to you, this person was really into the conversation and they were just sucking on you like you were, like it was a straw and you were a big, juicy juice box, right? Filled with all this healthy, wonderful, fantastic energy. So, what do? Well, first thing I do when I'm done with, say, a client call over Zoom or working with a client in person is after I am done working with someone, I go and I wash my hands. And as I wash my hands, I also use that as an intentionalized ritual for cleaning my energy system. And I say as I wash my hands, my energy back to me, your energy back to you. My energy back to me, your energy back to you. And my energy back to me, your energy back to you. I say it 3 times. Why? Well, because 3s have power. That's a ritual number. So I repeat back what my intention is, that I am pulling back any energy that I unknowingly connected to you, and that I'm giving you back any energy that you unknowingly or knowingly connected to me. And I wash my hands, and if I can't get to water, I do this. And I imagine pulling that energy off of me. So what might you want to do if perhaps you don't know if you have cords? Or perhaps you think, I know every time I talk to this person, I feel like crap. And I don't know what to do. I mean, certainly my energy back to me, your energy back to you. Do that. Do that with anyone you might perhaps have engaged with today, especially if engaging with that person or that situation made you feel exhausted. It's a very good sign that your energy was being drained right along with your feelings. Because again, when you're emotionally attached to something, the greater that emotional connection, the greater that energetic connection. But for bigger things, perhaps things more long lasting, where you're not sure if you are connected to something, but you know that you're tireder than you kind of intuitively feel you should be, I'm going to lead you on just a brief meditation right now. And if perhaps you're one of my friends that is driving or somebody that's working right now, wait till you get home and you can just replay this part. Okay? So I'm going to make this brief, but you can make it as long and involved as you want. So in other words, if you want to go into like a 15-minute meditation, which if you're not doing every day, I highly recommend. It's the best way to heal and clear your energy. After you're done, you might want to directly go into this. Or I like to do this at the end of my day when I'm laying in bed and it's dark and it's quiet and I'm trying to drift off, but I don't want to take the energy of everyone I dealt with, all the people that I worked with. I don't want to take that with me into my sleep. So here's what we're going to do. I want you to close your eyes and just take some deep cleansing breaths. Deeply in, expanding your chest and abdomen, maybe pausing at the end of the inhale and letting it all go. I want you to take 3 deep, powerful, healing breaths. And when you're done, I want you to imagine in your mind's eye the field of darkest night, blackest black, like velvet. And as you stare at this field, you are going to make an intention. And that intention is, when you ask, and not until you ask, you are going to be shown by pinpricks of light in this blackest field anyone or anything that you are energetically connected to. Okay? So ready? You can direct this to Spirit, to God, to Creator, to your angels, your ancestors, your connection to the universe, or simply the powers that be, or all that is. show me what I am connected to or who I am connected to. Now, for some of you, you may see a sprinkling of what looks like salt, just a couple specks here and there. For other of you, it may look like the solar system, filled with lights. So you're going to then ask, show me one of these lights that I need to disconnect from now. And you're going to follow that trail like fishing line all the way to the other side. What's there? Who's there? Do you see their face? Do you see the situation? Okay. If you don't see in your mind's eye a particular person or a particular thing, then just know that you need to release it. So let's do it. Okay? I want you to imagine that on your body is a hook. And I want you to ask your body where it is. Some of you might feel it immediately in the center of your chest, perhaps the top of your head, perhaps your throat, perhaps the back of your neck, or perhaps somewhere you didn't even imagine. I want you to imagine now that wherever this cord is hooked to you, that you are unhooking it. Maybe you'll reach to your body and physically pull that hook up and out, and then imagine it being reeled away. And if perhaps you have courted someone or something and you know that it is time for good to let it go so you can move on with freedom and you can trust and believe that you're exactly where you're meant to be. And everywhere you need to go from here on out, you don't need to drag that old belief system, that old regret, that old resentment with you. I want you to imagine pulling a hook out of it and pulling your energy back to you. And if that's not enough, then I want you to open your eyes and repeat after me. You ready? You're going to point at your chest and you're going to say, I am me. And now that you're going to imagine that person, that situation, and you're going to point at it wherever that should be, and you're going to say, you are you. We are not the same. Again, I am me. You are you. We are not the same. And you're going to say it one more time. And this last time, you're going to see that energy separate forevermore so you can feel whole and complete and no longer drained and no longer taken. I am me. Yeah. You are you. We are not the same. And now I want you to imagine that situation just fading off. That person with love sealing and healing that place in themselves where they connected to you, and you sealing and healing that place in yourself where perhaps you were taking from someone else. And I promise you, you will feel better. How could you not? So I do this at the end of every day, and I think of it almost like taking a shower for my energy, right? I'm pulling back all the energy that is mine, my energy back to me, your energy back to you, and I'm giving back all the energy that is not mine. And if it is a situation, maybe an ex who you still relate to, have to talk to because of the kids, or maybe it's a resentment that you still hold against your mother or father, or maybe it's somebody that continually records you and you know that they need to learn how to get energy elsewhere. You're going to freely and lovingly let their energy go and pull your energy back and seal yourself up and send them healing and yourself healing. Well, probably gone on longer than I should. So let me see if I have any questions. Juliana, you're explaining all of this so well. Well, thank you. I think this is super important. And like I mentioned, 20 odd years ago, this really made me horribly sick. And no one explained it to me when I got into the field of energy medicine. No one told me you're going to want to take on other people's energy because you love them. Or you're going to want to give your energy to other people because you love them and you want them to be happier and healthier, and how that could drain you and how it could take your very life force if you weren't aware of it and if you didn't know how to, on a regular basis, cleanse yourself from it and heal yourself. Emily said, 2 related questions about prevention. Some people at work seem to just suck the energy out of me or a room of folks. Maybe the energy vampires you mentioned. Absolutely. And understand that when I say that, it sounds very dramatic. These are not actually people who are vampiric in nature. What they are is people who are really enjoy the energy of others. You might know them as that person who always wants to talk when they're absolutely miserable and really is kind of addicted to their misery, right? They don't really want to change. I mean, they may say they want to, but they're addicted to their suffering. It's their biggest narrative. And hey, sometimes we even feel like that, right? So a lot of times these people, they just do not know how to feel better without taking someone's energy to do it. So have they courted us, or is that something different? Can I do anything to prevent it in a work setting? Very good questions. So what I might want to address at another live, if someone's interested, type it down there, is how you really kind of help prevent this from happening by shielding yourself. And so if you've never heard of energetic shielding and you don't know how to do it, maybe make a comment down below. And if enough people ask, then I'll do the next live on that. Now, without going into depth on how to energetically shield yourself and knowing how to do that, when you walk out of that room, when you end that phone call, when that client or student leaves the room, my energy back to me, your energy back to you. 3 times, see it happening. If it was a huge experience in that you are incredibly detrimentally tired, like you don't feel good, maybe you feel kind of sick, maybe you need to lay down, maybe you've just got a pounding headache, you might at that point want to say something like, my energy, I am me, you are you, we are not the same. And maybe even kind of do it with some energy behind it, letting that person know that you may be tasty. Someone called me once energetic morphine, right? So you may be energetic morphine, but that does not mean that their addictive self gets to drain you. And honestly, even if you love them, even if they're a family member who's draining you, they need to know how to replenish their energy from a walk in the woods or a warm bath or meditation, my favorite way. So yeah, hopefully that answered that question. And sometimes when I go to the mall or a large store, I tell myself shields up to block energy I don't want. Is there a better way to do this? Well, there's a lot of different ways to shield. So maybe I'll talk about that next week. Dee said, I love you. I love you too, sister. And I miss your beautiful, healing, caring face. And I know that in the career that you have chosen, because you are one of the greatest healers I know, shielding and replenishing your energy and giving people's cords back to them is hugely important for you. I recommend you do it every day. If I don't have time to shower, I still have time to energetically cleanse my system, right? Because it is essential to make sure we're healthy. And recognize that the biggest energetic source and connection we need to have is to Creator, whatever that is for you, not to other people, right? Vertical sourcing, not lateral sourcing, which is maybe another conversation. Susan said, really helpful and valuable. And sorry about that. Thank you so much for the reminder. Dee needed this so much. I bet you do, sister. I bet you do. Remember that everyone's connection with Creator and their purpose here is theirs. And you will do what you are here to do, but ultimately what happens for their future is between them and God. And it's not up to you to change. Susan said, yes, please talk about shielding. Juliana, shielding. Emily, shielding. Chris, do shielding. Okay, shielding it is. All right, my loves, thank you so much for joining me. As always, I hope you're taking care of yourself for me, and I want you to know that you are perfect exactly the way you are. And regardless of whether you know, everything is working out as it should. And I hope that you continue to take care of yourself. And I get a chance to see you next week. Okay? I love you. Bye.